Hi class, hola clase. Please remember to comment with your name underneath the video so that we can count your attendance to help with Teton Literacy funding. Por favor, padres, no se olviden escribir con su nombre en comentario debajo del video para poder contar su asistencia y saber que vieron el video y están haciendo su asignación. Today we're going to read a chapter from Voces Latinas, focused on Ángel Cordero. So please look for page 79 in your book so you can follow along with us and you can read along with me. ¿Ok? Por favor, padres, vayan a la página 79 de su libro digital para que puedan seguir el cuento conmigo. We're going to read the first part about our narrator. Our narrator, nuestro narrador, is Ángel Cordero. So we're going to learn a little about him first. Ángel Cordero's hometown of Camden, New Jersey, is well known for all the wrong reasons. The city has the highest poverty rate, el rango de pobreza, in the nation. Unemployment is high. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, ranks it as one of the country's most dangerous cities. Few students finish high school, and even fewer go on to college. Ángel grew up in Camden and followed what is, sadly, a typical Camden kid's path. Dropping out of school, se dio de baja de la escuela, getting involved in crime es crimen, becoming dependent upon drugs, convirtiéndose dependiente en las drogas, and going to prison. Yet, along the way, Ángel developed a vision, una visión, of a different Camden. A Camden where children could safely go to school and receive a solid education. This is the story of how he has tried to make that vision a reality. Okay, now we have Ángel Cordero as the narrator, como el narrador de la historia. In high school, I was a good wrestler. Wrestler is de lucha libre. Actually, I was a great wrestler. I made All-American twice. All-American es una competencia nacional. Went to the regionals, all that. Wrestling was going to be my ticket out of Camden. I couldn't read, but I figured wrestling would still get me a scholarship. Scholarship es una beca. And I figured things out from there. But that didn't work out. The summer after my 10th grade year, I stopped by my high school, Woodrow Wilson, como se llamaba la escuela, and found out that they were scraping the wrestling program. Scraping quiere decir que la estaban quitando el programa de lucha libre. They were eliminating it and adding golf. Golf. What were they thinking? Tiger Woods wasn't even born yet. Nobody I knew played golf. So I got myself transferred to Camden High School, which had a wrestling program. Tiene un programa de lucha libre. The coach, la persona que enseñaba a los estudiantes cómo hacer lucha libre, the coach there was delighted to have me. Delighted quiere decir que estaba bien contento en tenerlo. And then one day when I was working out, the principal walked through. She tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You can't come here just for wrestling. Get out." That was my last day in school. I walked out and found a job on a used car lot, vendiendo carros usados. Then things went bad. Well, not at first. I was a good salesman. Salesman es un vendedor. All you need to sell is cars. All you need to sell cars is a good mouth, and I can talk. My boss knew I couldn't read, but he liked me anyway. He made me a manager. I hired some relatives, algunos familiares, to work there. Then some money got stolen, and I didn't tell my boss. No le dije nada a mi jefe. Instead, I covered it up. En vez, lo cubrí en vez de ser honesto. I told the people involved, you've got to return the money, but it didn't get returned. And I kept cooking the books. Cooking the books quiere decir alterando los libros de la cantidad de dinero para que nadie se enterara que se había robado dinero. Él no lo robó, pero las otras personas que lo habían robado. Things got worse and worse. I started selling drugs to get back the missing money. And soon I was in trouble with the law. After my second conviction, arresto, while I was out on bail, bail es cuando te dan dinero para que puedas salir de cárcel y esperar tu juicio, I ran. I left New Jersey and ran to Florida. In Florida, I started going to a gym to box, para hacer un tipo de lucha libre. I got noticed by Michael Bell, a great kickboxer, a champion. Kickboxer es similar a karate, pero más es un tipo de deporte donde la persona está más dando puños y patadas para cardio. It was wonderful, but I knew that if I started to fight, I'd draw attention and the police would be there. And I was homesick anyway, so I went back up north. I never told Mike Bell I was running. I just left with no explanation. I've always felt bad about that. Se arrepiente. Back home, I went to work to a car wash in Philly. Philly es Filadelfia. Doing detailing. Detailing es cuando hacen pequeñas cosas del carro, por ejemplo, limpiar ciertas cosas o pulir o más allá de solamente limpiar con jabón y agua. That I was a crack addict living on the street. The way the drug affected me, I'd have seizures all the time. Seizures son ataques. Once I fell into the street, my face straight into the gravel. So that's how things were when the FBI showed up. I went to prison for 3 years. In prison, I met the nicest people. I'm not kidding. A lot of them were just great. But you know what we had in common? Almost all of us? We were uneducated. Most of us couldn't even read. In a nutshell en resumen, that's why we were there. In this country, if you are uneducated, you will fail. Chances are you will end up in jail. Maybe you'll commit a crime, or maybe it'll happen like this. Your mom will send you to a corner store. Corner store es una tienda que haya en la esquinita cerca de tu casa. There's drug dealing going on there. Alguien está vendiendo drogas. And you'll be in the store when a raid goes down. Raid es cuando las personas entran a negocios y asaltan a personas para coger el dinero. You're just standing there, but you're a Hispanic kid, so you'll get picked up too. La policía te va a coger, entonces, por más que estabas ahí parado solamente. In court, you'll be told the only way to get out of there is to accept a plea bargain. Plea bargain es tratar de negociar con el juez, even if you did not do anything. This happens every day in Camden. It can happen because uneducated people are powerless. They can be treated like animals. In jail, I had time to think about these things. I tried to earn my GED, mi diploma de high school, but I failed twice. I did learn to read though. When I got out of jail, I went back to work at the used car place. I couldn't stop talking to my friends about what we could do to save our community. I was obsessed, obsesionado, by what I saw around me. Our kids went to school to be threatened and beaten. Threatened, amenazados, beaten, quiere decir que les daban. Our old people didn't dare go out after dark for fear they'd be mugged. Mugged es asaltado. A few of us started the Coamo Social Club, named after a city in Puerto Rico. The club was a place for people to come together to see what we could do to change things. I was beginning to think like an activist, un activista. We got involved with the mayor at the time, Milton Milan. Milton ended up going to prison on corruption charges, but he was still the best mayor Camden ever had. He put the drug dealers in prison, and the killings went way down. He lit a spark, una mecha, in people that had not been lit before. He made them realize they could take back power rather than just passively accept the idea that Camden is hopeless. I was all over the place. I was involved in immigration right marches o marchas, in filling suits against the Camden School District, luchando con el distrito de la escuela para que ocurran cosas como sean, como se supone que sean. In protesting police brutality. Police brutality es cuando la policía abusa su poder. Whatever I could. I was constantly going to the office of our assemblywoman, Nilsa Cruz Perez, talking about the schools. Every day, it became clear to me that education is the one thing we can give our kids that cannot be taken away. So when Dan Gabby, the executive director of something called Excellent Education for Everyone, we call it E3 for short, told her he was looking for a regional coordinator, she had me in her office in 10 minutes flat. 10 minutes flat quiere decir en 10 minutos exacto. She would have done anything to get rid of me at that point. The next day, I was on a plane to Milwaukee es un estado en Estados Unidos, to start training. There, I saw kids, the same kind of kids we have in Camden, basically educating themselves with the involvement of their whole families. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I was crying the whole time I was there, crying tears of frustration, de frustración. I kept thinking, if they can do this in Milwaukee, why can't they do this in my city? I've now been employed by E3 for 7 years. E3 is a coalition of people working to bring school choice to everyone. The conditions in Camden public schools are horrendous. Horrendous es horrendos. The dropout rate is something close to 80%. Dropout rate quiere decir el porcentaje de los estudiantes que se salen de la escuela antes de acabar. The schools are like zoos, like prisons. People are afraid to send their kids there, and nothing changes because the families have no choice. If the parents had the option of sending their children somewhere else, they'd have the leverage. Leverage quiere decir, ellos harían esa opción de mandarlos a otros sitios si pudieran. As it is, the schools know the parents can't do anything, so there isn't any pressure to change things. E3 is working to give choices to poor parents. For instance, we now have a bill, una orden, before the New Jersey state legislature that would make available $9,000 for every high school student and $6,000 for every elementary and middle school student so that they can attend any school they want. While I worked for E3, I continued my other activist work. At one time, I was working on a recall petition, una petición de traer esto al tema de nuevo, for the Camden mayor collecting signatures. I was taking heat because she was African American. And some people accused me, and me habían acusado, of going after her because she was Black. In the middle of all that, on December 20, 2006, 15 families came to me and said, Angel, you have to help. The violence in the schools is so critical. If we don't send our kids to school, we can go to jail. But we can't go on risking their lives. We can't send them there anymore. What can we do? Just days after that, a huge black man with a huge voice came to my office and said he wanted to talk with me. I said, great. You want to join the recall effort? He said no, but he wanted to have lunch with me. We went out and talked for 3 hours. He was Tim Merrill, co-pastor, un pastor, of Bethel United Methodist Church. We talked about the recall, and I told him the problem wasn't a racial thing. The problem was that the mayor wasn't doing her job, in my opinion. I learned about him, how for all of his life, he'd been taking kids off street corners, tutoring them, getting them literacy training, helping them get jobs, doing whatever he could. Then I told him about the 15 families who had asked me for help, and Tim asked, let's homeschool them. I said, where? Homeschool es darles la educación por medio de las casas en vez de ir a la escuela. He said, at my church. You know what I learned that day? That there are many messiahs in the world, and Tim is one of them. He saves kids. I was up to my neck in working on the recall, but I knew I couldn't continue that effort and do what this man was suggesting. I thought about it for 30 seconds and I canceled the recall. A lot of people were angry with me, and a lot of others laughed at me. But I knew for certain that this was what I had to do. I had to focus on the kids. We met with the 15 families at a hair salon across the street from Woodrow Wilson High School. And we talked about homeschooling, an idea that was brand new to all of them. On January 3, 2007, we started classes at the church. It was Tim, me, and my secretary. We esperábamos 15 kids. 27 showed up. The church provided 15 laptop computers. 3 weeks after we opened our doors, someone broke in, alguien entró ilegalmente, and stole the computers. But we kept going, and 6 months later, we graduated 14 kids. And they're all doing well, every one of them. All are in college, helping in their parents' business, in the army, or in a trade school. Trade school quiere decir en una escuela de algo específico, como electricista, como habanería, algo bien específico. We held a graduation at the Camden City Hall, and it was a truly joyous celebration. Now we have 105 kids, with 1 or 2 more showing up every day. 89% are Hispanic. We have 5 teachers, more or less. 2 are paid by a benefactor, por un donante. The rest are volunteers. The only qualificación, for a kid to come here is that he or she wants to. No way, just as I tell the kids here. If the day ever comes when I have to hire a security guard to keep peace, I'll dismantle the program. Dismantle quiere decir quito todo, o sea, destruyo el programa. This is not what we are about here. We are not giving them the greatest education. We know that. We have them for maybe 6 months, after the public schools have had them for 8 or 10 years. But we are doing all we can. We take them on a field trip twice a month to the State House, to Superior Court, so that they can see how their government works and doesn't work. We took them to see the movie The Great Debaters, about an outstanding debate team from a small Black college. We work on multiplication tables and vocabulary and current events. We are constantly looking for opportunities for them, like the tech school I just learned about, that trains people to do medical billing. After an 8-week course, the graduate can earn from $13 to $17 an hour. That's an opportunity to be seized. Seize, de coger. We're just scraping along as best we can, but we have love and respect for these kids. And when kids feel loved and respected, you can reach through that invisible wall that's around them. They're my dogs, every one of them. I'm so proud of them for being here and for wanting more out of life. The Department of Education doesn't want to deal with us. They say, oh, we have plans. You'll see real progress in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. But I can't wait 15 years. I have kids who need help today. They have been let down by every adult in their lives, and I tell them that Pastor Tim and I will not let them down. I love these kids, and I don't want what happened to me to happen to a single one of them. Once you are stained by the judicial system, stained es marcado, you are marked for life. No matter what I do, somebody will always say, yeah, but you know, he's an ex-con. Ex-con es alguien que ya fue a prisión. Education will make the difference in these kids' lives, and I'm going to do everything in my power to see that they get it. Class, thank you for reading along with me. Please don't forget to comment your name under the video. Por favor, no se olviden de comentar su nombre debajo del video para asegurarnos de darle su asistencia. And from here, go to Google Classroom so you can complete your assignment. Y de aquí, vete a Google Classroom para que puedas completar tu asignación. Gracias.